I poured this into my soil, and mycorrhizal fungi exploded. If you've been gardening for a while, you already know that soil is alive. It's not just dirt under our feet, it's an entire hidden universe. And like many of you, I've spent years trying to figure out how to feed that underground world so it, in turn, feeds my plants. Recently I tried something so simple yet so powerful that it transformed the way I look at soil health forever. I poured it into my garden bed and mycorrhizal fungi exploded almost overnight. Let me take you through what I used, why it works, and how you can make the same magic happen in your own garden. Whether you're just starting out, or you've been nurturing plants for decades, this one tweak might be the missing link to unlock your soil's true potential. Before I reveal what I poured into the soil, let's talk about the real stars of the garden mycorrhizal fungi. These aren't just random mushrooms popping up after the rain. They are microscopic threads, hyphae, that form a symbiotic partnership with plant roots. Here's how the partnership works. The fungi attach themselves to plant roots, essentially extending the plant's root system by hundreds of times. Through this underground network, the fungi help plants pull in water and nutrients, especially phosphorus and trace minerals, that roots struggle to access on their own. In exchange, the plant gives the fungi sugars made through photosynthesis. It's the oldest trade deal in history, and it's still working miracles in our gardens today. But here's the catch. Modern gardening practices often destroy or suppress these fungi. Over-tilling, synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and even leaving soil bare for too long can all wipe out or weaken fungal communities. That's why many of us never see the full potential of these hidden allies. What I poured into my soil. So what did I pour into my soil that made mycorrhizal fungi take off? The answer is diluted molasses mixed with compost tea. Yes, you read that right. Molasses, the same thick sweet syrup you might drizzle into cookies or bread. And when paired with a rich compost tea, it becomes rocket fuel for soil life. Why molasses? Because it's a direct food source for beneficial microbes, including bacteria and fungi. So here's the thing. Molasses is packed with simple sugars, iron, calcium, and magnesium. These are all things that microbial communities need to multiply quickly. When you add it to soil alongside a diverse microbial inoculant like compost tea, you're basically throwing a banquet for mycorrhizal fungi and their microbial friends. The science behind the explosion is pretty interesting. Mycorrhizal fungi don't just show up because we want them to. They need the right conditions to really thrive. And honestly, that's where the molasses compost tea combo shines. The sugars in molasses feed soil bacteria, which in turn release enzymes and organic acids that help free up bound nutrients. As bacteria populations expand, they create a ripple effect. Fungi, protozoa, nematodes, and other beneficial organisms also thrive. With more food available and a healthier microbial balance, mycorrhizal fungi can establish themselves faster and spread more aggressively. In my garden, I noticed visible changes within a couple of weeks. Plants looked greener, leaves perked up, and root systems became denser and more fibrous. When I gently dug near the root zone of my tomatoes, I could actually see the fuzzy white fungal threads interwoven with the roots, a clear sign of active mycorrhizal colonization. How to use this method in your garden. If you want to give this a try, here's a simple way to do it without overcomplicating the process. First, brew a compost tea. If you're new to this, don't worry, it's not as intimidating as it sounds. All you need is a bucket, some water, preferably non-chlorinated, a handful of well-aged compost, and an aquarium bubbler to keep things aerated. Let it brew for about 24 hours. Next, add a couple of tablespoons of unsulfured blackstrap molasses to the tea just before applying it. Stir it in well. Finally, you'll want to pour this mixture directly around the root zones of your plants. You can also spray it on the soil surface or even use it as a foliar spray if you'd like. I recommend applying every 2 weeks during the active growing season for, the best results. Now just a quick word of caution, more is not always better. Overdoing molasses can throw off your soil balance and even encourage some harmful microbes. So, stick to small amounts. Think of it as a supplement, not a meal replacement. Also, avoid using synthetic fertilizers right after you apply compost tea with molasses. The salts and chemicals can actually undo a lot of the microbial work you're trying to encourage. And finally, don't expect instant miracles. While I did see some fast changes, the real magic of mycorrhizal fungi happens over months and even years. You're building a living network that supports your garden season after season. Why this method works for beginners and experts alike is, honestly, one of the things I appreciate most about it. It's really accessible to everyone. Beginners can just follow the steps without needing any fancy equipment and, seasoned gardeners will definitely appreciate the deeper microbial science behind it. So, if you're just starting out, think of this as a quick, low-cost way to breathe life into your soil. And if you're a bit more experienced, well, consider it a way to really amplify the biological foundation you've already been building. Either way, you'll be amazed at just how much healthier and more resilient your plants become when their fungal partners are thriving. The long-term payoff is where things get really exciting. The beauty of fostering mycorrhizal fungi is that the benefits actually compound over time. Each season the fungal network becomes stronger and more established. That means your plants need less watering, fertilizer inputs drop dramatically, and pest resistance naturally increases. Pretty great, right? You'll also notice that your soil itself begins to change. It becomes darker, crumbly, and easier to work with. A true sign of healthy organic matter and thriving biology. When you've seen this transformation once, you'll never want to garden any other way. Final thoughts. When I poured molasses-enriched compost tea into my soil, I didn't expect the explosion of life that followed. But what I witnessed confirmed something I've always believed. The most powerful gardening solutions are often the simplest. We don't need to buy expensive products or chase the latest fads. Nature already knows what it's doing, we just need to give it the right support. So if you've been struggling with lackluster soil, weak plants, or poor harvests, give this method a try. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your soil comes alive in ways you never imagined. Soil Sensei.